Hello, divine creations, divine marvels, children of God. Thanks so much for dropping by this video. I've been kind of sensing this one on the horizon, and someone recently asked me in the comments section, do I consider myself awakened? Absolutely. Well, awakened. Yes, we need to get really clear on our terminology here. So, awakened as in I am spiritually awake. I am awake to realities beyond the physical, such as energy, and I'm aware of, what can be called God or presence or consciousness, and I'm aware that that's an aspect of my being. But most people, when they say, "Are you awakened?" they mean, "Are you done?" Are you permanently awake? And this is actually a really important question. So, to be very direct, no, absolutely not. Ramana Maharshi, when describing samadhi, union, which he said there's three kinds of samadhis. And I don't have the Sanskrit memorized anymore, but one of them is a samadhi where the world completely disappears and all that is, and you're literally unaware of the world. I've had one such experience, and I'm not clear if Ramana meant that, that goes on permanently for yogis. As I talked about before, there's some states of absorption where that goes on and the yogi just doesn't even eat because they're so absorbed in that, and they will die unless someone else feeds them. I had I don't know how long it lasted. It was a moment out of time, but that's not my ongoing experience. And then Ramana talks about sahaj samadhi, which means natural, but more specifically, it's effortless samadhi, where moment by moment, without any effort, you're immersed in the self. Ramana said even for such a being that the ego would occasionally pop up, and that the yanai would just inquire vigorously, and it would go again. That happens from time to time. So that's what most people mean by enlightened or awakened, is a permanent state of consciousness. But the thing is to keep in mind is what Ramana spoke of, is it no longer requires any effort. And definitely not there. I still make effort. In fact, Ramana said, now you must make effort. At a certain point, you'll be unable to make effort. And I don't believe he meant just effort with self-inquiry or spiritual practice, but to make any kind of effort. We all go throughout our day being like, I'm going to go here, or, oh, I need to do this, and exerting ourselves. Whereas my understanding, and I certainly have periods of time, sometimes seconds, minutes, occasionally a half hour, 40 minutes where I just flow along and things happen. But that's not my permanent experience. And so that takes me to the kind of samadhi that I tend to spend, depending on the day, a fair amount of time in. And that was Ramana called it samadhi with effort, where through various spiritual practices, the ego is submerged, but it's not permanently destroyed. It reemerges. And my experience is, along the path, that happens more and more often. And during those periods of time, there is a feeling of effortlessness, and there is a sense of really being immersed or surrounded in the self, in consciousness and presence and peace. So now here's the thing, this is where the Neo-Advaita movement is really off, is it's primarily an intellectual realization. Oh, I am consciousness. But if you ask a Neo-Advaita teacher, hey, moment by moment, without any effort, are you aware of the self? Are you immersed in the self? Usually what you'll get is an intellectual answer like, Well, who is it that would be immersed in the self? Which is, it's a mess. What can we say? The satsang movement is a mess. So it's very much a faux pas in the Neo-Advaita movement to, it's all about words. It's all about words, and in the Neo-Advaita, the modern Advaita movement, whereas Ramana was in the Advaita Vedanta is pointing us to a place beyond words, and so that's my answer. Yes, I am awake to what Ramana was pointing to in various degrees throughout the day, and no, there's not the permanent, lived, effortless, moment by moment experience. Thank you for asking. And so the question is, why do I have the right to even comment on these teachings, given that that's not my state, given that I don't hang out in the Sahaj Samadhi? And all I can say is that, of course, anyone has the right to say anything, but why are my words, I'm just one more joker, right? And I'm on the internet. I don't even do in-person satsangs. I haven't written books. And what I can say is I have a lot of devotion to Ramana's teachings, and there's a lot of pieces that I talk about that no one else does that I was just drawn to. Like, I would read a sentence and I would think about it for a year. For example, a sentence like this, which you will never hear in a Neo-Advaita satsang. All the yogas, karma, jnana, bhakti, and raja, are just different paths to suit different natures with different modes of evolution. So, I read that sentence and I've literally been meditating on it for like 15 years. And so part of what I feel I have, whether or not I'm qualified, part of what I feel I have to offer the dialogue is there's some aspects of the teaching that most people aren't even aware of. And when I say, and I'm also talking about teachers, they aren't even aware of, but also that they just straight up contradict. I also have a really good bullshit radar. And sad to say that's necessary in today's satsang movement. And the last thing is, there's a lot of devotion to the words and not enough devotion to the actual experience of what the words are pointing to. And I have a lot of devotion to both, and both are actually necessary. You'll find some teachers who'll be like, forget the words, just go into the experience. And you'll have some teachers who are just talk nonstop. In traditional Advaita Vedanta, it's really both. You systematically use words and ideas and practices to get you to the place beyond words. And so that's what I feel that I have to offer is a real deep devotion to presence, to the presence. and I have a deep devotion to the truth as expressed by Ramana Maharshi and to my understanding as expressed by Adi Shankara. And the other thing I have to offer is that I can say that the Neo-Advaita, hey Michael, thanks for saying hi. The Neo-Advaita movement is absolute bullshit in my own experience, because it took me to the brink of almost committing suicide. And again, one of my very close friends had a complete meltdown based on Neo-Advaita, and his brother actually had a psychotic break. So that's the thing no one's talking about is I won't say no one, but there's this idea of like, oh, non-duality is the truth, and so it becomes a closed system. And anywho, thank you so much for asking, Michael. Thank you so much for saying hello. At some point in time, I might do thought songs here on this channel, and um, I really appreciate the people who show up and share their own experiences with the distorted presentations of truth, and people who share the places they've struggled. Um, so thanks so much for dropping by this video, and thank you so much to the community that's slowly beginning to evolve here on this channel. Much love.